Six Flags just announced they are selling 7 parks to EPR Properties. This sudden announcement was surprising. But is it a good thing for customers? In this video, I will break down the announcement and share some reasons to be excited and some reasons to be concerned. Six Flags and Cedar Fair merged in 2023. While the chain retained the more recognizable Six Flags name, the management is more comprised of Cedar Fair officials. After the merger, the chain had over 40 different theme parks and water parks in its portfolio. That has a lot of mouths to feed, and the chain had a lot of inherited debt, so they said they'd be looking at portfolio optimization. This would include closing expensive, problematic, and/or less popular rides, and more drastically, selling off or even closing certain parks. Last year, the chain announced the closure of Six Flags America. This wasn't too surprising given how the park underperformed. The chain had other parks in the region, and the land in that county was extremely valuable. And more recently, in March 2026, Six Flags announced they are selling 7 parks to EPR Properties for $331 million. The impacted parks are Six Flags Great Escape, Ronde, Six Flags St. Louis, Worlds of Fun, Michigan's Adventure, Valleyfair, and Schlitterbahn Galveston. EPR Properties was founded in 1997, and it owns over 350 properties. This includes a wide range of entertainment options such as museums, ski resorts, movie theaters, and for the sake of this video, amusement parks. Prior to the recent announcement, EPR owned 17 theme parks and water parks. This most notably included Pacific Park at the Santa Monica Pier, Magic Springs in Arkansas, Wild Waves in Washington, and a few different Six Flags parks. They own Frontier City, Six Flags Darien Lake, and 4 Hurricane Harbor water parks. Six Flags then manages the operations of these properties. This time, the parks are being sold to EPR and managed by different entities. 6 of the parks will be leased and operated by Enchanted Parks, who currently own Enchanted Forest and Water Safari in New York and Diggerland in New Jersey. Then Ronde will be managed by Premier Parks, who already operate a few different water parks for EPR in Canada. The 7 parks that Six Flags sold were not treated as growth properties. Rather, they were parks that would turn consistent profits with minimal investment. But it's clear that Six Flags needed a quick infusion of cash due to appease shareholders and satisfy debt payments. $331 million is a lot of money, but it seems like EPR got a great deal. This price works out to $47 million per park. You cannot build a ground-up park for that value. For reference, Cedar Fair sold the land under California's Great America for $310 million alone. Is this a positive for the 7 parks that were sold? I'm optimistic there. The 7 parks that were sold received far less coasters than the chain's larger parks. Some of the parks had not received a new adult coaster in 2 decades. With new management, it is possible these parks get more frequent and plentiful investments. It would be hard to get less investment than what they had been receiving. Instead of being the redhead stepchildren of the Six Flags chain, these are now the crown jewels of the EPR properties and the managing entities. One reason to be concerned though is that EPR has not invested heavily in their parks to date. Further, they have been closing rides like Arkansas Twister and Magic Springs, and entire parks like Wild Waves. However, these parks were not leased or managed by Enchanted Parks, so we need to give them an opportunity to see how they handle things. Having visited Enchanted Forest and Water Safari, I can say that was a very good park. It was charming, clean, and well run, and they invest new rides into that place. One aspect I have not heard discussed is whether the sale of Wild Waves was a precursor to this move. I've heard land valuations near Seattle are exorbitant. It is possible the closure of that park was a preemptive move so EPR would have the cash needed to fund the purchase of these 7 Six Flags parks at a seemingly discount price. Going forward, I am curious to see how Enchanted Parks handles season passes at these properties. Six Flags season passes and memberships will be valid at these properties in 2026, but in future seasons, I suspect they will not. Enchanted Parks has some smaller clusters near each other, such as Enchanted Forest and Great Escape, as well as the two Missouri parks. I know the individual parks will have season passes, but will they also offer regional season passes or even a chain-wide pass? Now I want to run through each property to discuss my thoughts on each park specifically, both in terms of how surprising its sale was and what it means for them specifically. Valleyfair was the most surprising park to be included in my opinion, given its historical significance. This was the second Cedar Fair park, and why fair is even included in the name. I think the most painful part of this sale will be the eventual loss of the Peanuts characters. Charles Schultz was a local to the Minneapolis area. Mall of America's theme park already lost the Camp Snoopy theme years ago, but at least they had planned Snoopy still at Valleyfair. EPR can retain use of the IPs for 2026, but they likely will need to be removed from 2027 onwards. Michigan's Adventure is another former Cedar Fair park. This place received huge investment in the 1990s when they were locally owned, but that stopped once Cedar Fair took over, presumably because the chain realized the park could have consistent attendance with minimal investment, and I also assume they did not want to compete with the nearby Cedar Point. This is another park that will see the loss of their Snoopy area, but it's not as big and regionally beloved as it is for Valleyfair. Worlds of Fun is another Cedar Fair park. This was another surprising sale, since I've long heard that Kansas City has a booming population, and this park recently got a new coaster in 2023 with Zambezi Zinger. My guess is that they did not get the return on investment they expected for that ride, making them more hesitant to invest in the park long term. Schlitterbahn Galveston is the one park included in this sale that I have not visited. When Cedar Fair purchased the Schlitterbahn chain, I believe they truly had their sights on the New Braunfels Park, which is a full-fledged resort. I am not surprised they unloaded the smaller park. While the prior three parks could easily keep their old names, I suspect this park will need an entirely new name if Cedar Fair owns the Schlitterbahn name specifically. Six Flags St. Louis is another that will definitely need a new name. You cannot just remove Six Flags and have the name make sense. This park is also the only one with DC and Looney Tunes themed areas. While most things could be quickly modified to remove the branding, modifying the Justice League Dark Ride will be difficult and expensive because that ride is highly themed. Since this was one of the ground-up Six Flags parks, I was a bit surprised it was included in the sale, but it is another property that seemed to get less investment. I'm more shocked that Six Flags left the Missouri market entirely. I would have thought they'd keep either this park or Worlds of Fun, not unloading both. Six Flags Great Escape is one whose sale did not shock me. This was one of the chain's smaller parks, and it always had a more family-friendly vibe. It also has never had DC characters, and the Looney Tunes characters were removed 16 years ago. This also is a tricky park to manage. Its location makes it hard to staff, as is a long drive from major cities, and if attendance and subsequently traffic around the park increases too much year over year, the park is on the hook to redo the roadway, which is an extremely pricey endeavor. Ronde is another one whose sale was not too surprising. This was another park that was underinvested in, especially considering it is located in an amazing location by Montreal. This park also had some quirky operational policies, so the Six Flags passes were not always as seamless to use here. I am curious to see what Premier Parks does with this place. Do they keep the status quo, or do they want to make it more appealing for locals? For Six Flags, unloading these parks allows them to focus on their core parks. This means more resources and investment will be sent their way. For those with Six Flags season passes or memberships, this weakens the overall value of your pass. We are losing some parks after the 2026 season. Further, while your admission is valid at those parks in 2026, we are losing some perks immediately. The individual parks are empowered to make their own decisions how to handle all-season add-ons. The parks could choose to eliminate Fastlane entirely, meaning you cannot use those benefits at the impacted parks. More controversially, the dining plans may also not work. In the terms and conditions of the dining plan, participating locations and menus are subject to change. Participating locations was always thought to mean participating restaurants at each park, but now participating locations is being interpreted as participating parks. So if you have all-season dining, it likely will not work at these 7 parks in 2026. Even worse, if your home park is one of the 7 parks that was sold and you have all-season dining, Six Flags said they will give pass members a $10 food and beverage voucher per visit. I think that's a slap in the face. Previously, the dining plan was good for 2 meals and sometimes a snack. Each meal at these parks usually costs $15 to $20, so the voucher doesn't even cover 1 meal. If your home park is one of these 7 parks, it appears your season pass and membership will die after the 2026 season. Unlike with Six Flags America's closure when legacy memberships could be transferred to another Six Flags park, the terms and conditions here say the membership will be cancelled and cannot be swapped to another park. That is unfortunate for anyone with the old Diamond Elite membership, since that pass offered amazing perks that go beyond the current Platinum passes. In short, I think EPR got a very good deal for these 7 parks, and I'm optimistic these places will get more investment than they did during the Six Flags and Cedar Fair days. I get why Six Flags chose to unload some of their smaller parks, but I think they severely undervalued them in the sale. It shows just how desperate they were for immediate cash. I also think it is shady how they're handling perks in 2026, considering that people made past decisions assuming these 7 parks would be in the chain. Hopefully, they can revisit that part of the sale. Those are my thoughts on the sale of the 7 Six Flags parks in March of 2026. What are your thoughts about this move? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this news update, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.